What up, bubs? It's the rain train. Back to slap you across your fat ass with a fat dick full of clean living jizz. Um, Wanted to thank everybody for all the kind words regarding the last video I did about, hitting 3 years of sobriety. And I wanted to let you guys know this is going to be a normal thing that I'm doing, not just the videos, but also I'm going to start another podcast that's just dedicated to not just sobriety, but all kinds of shit relative, just to leaving certain shit behind, learning more about certain substances, and just unfucking ourselves altogether and getting ourselves on the right track. So there was a few messages that people had sent to me that really um, hit hard, and I wanted to touch on a few of the topics that seem to be recurring themes in those, and just hopefully help somebody through these issues, or just express some clarity on them. One of the things that popped up a lot was that people mention that their alcohol or substance abuse led to suicidal feelings. One, if you're feeling suicidal, reach out to somebody, fucking call 911. Just, that's first and foremost. Second, I just want to let you guys know that a lot of times, and I'm talking from personal experience, cutting all the fucking bullshit as far as substance wise out of your life will often lead to those suicidal feelings going away. For the longest time, like, I wanted to fucking die. And I didn't know why that was. I just know that I wanted to fucking die. And I don't know whether, like, my substance abuse was a byproduct of that, or if my substance abuse caused that. But what I do know is that I don't have that feeling anymore. I really am fucking grateful to be alive every day. I enjoy my fucking life, and I don't think it's any coincidence. And I remember first going into sobriety, people would say, just give it a shot, give it a shot. You're going to experience life beyond your wildest dreams. And I was just like, get the fuck out of my face, dude. Because I know what I did. I know how fucked up the shit I did was. And I just didn't think that there was any coming back from that. But you're not going to erase that shit, but you are going to build a life that's so fucking, that's so, admirable, and just so respectable, and do things that are just not in line with the bullshit, fucked up shit that you used to do before. And you're essentially building a new version of yourself. So if you're feeling like you're beyond fucking repair, get those fucking dumb thoughts out of your brain, because you're not. Wherever the fuck you're at, regardless of whatever fucked up shit you did while you were fucked up, you can unfuck yourself. You're not going to fix fucking, damage that you fucking caused. There's no guarantee in that, but you can start by not doing that shit anymore. And one of the ways to not engage in so many of those fucked up behaviors is to stop, putting those substances in your body that led you to do that shit. Um, there's no real fucking, there's no quick fix to any of this shit. There's no one, right way, or, there's no clear cut path to unfucking yourself from alcohol and drugs. I think it's a combination of a lot of different things. And from experience, for me, it was a handful of different things which contributed to me being able to be to the point where I'm at today, where I genuinely enjoy waking up each day. And I'm able to start each day as a blank slate, as opposed to just waking up and just instantly being met with thoughts and regrets of whatever fucking chaos and destruction I caused the night before. And a lot of times it's not even like, nothing bad even had to happen for me to experience profound depression and anxiety the next day after fucking tying a fucking royal one on. It was just, it just came with the territory. And, I just didn't know at the time that shit could be different, but it can. But it is nice being able to wake up every day and experience new days, as opposed to just days being continuation of days prior, and just feeling fucking lost, helpless, and just fucking sad, man. That's one thing that you realize as you get deeper into unfucking yourself and to leaving this shit in the dust, is that you start to recognize feelings more, and start to recognize that you should feel those feelings. Like, even though, like, I describe myself as a happy person now, like, I'm not happy 24/7. I'm not in a fucking cult. There's no, I get fucking sad about shit every day. I get fucking, pissed about shit every day. But now, without having that shit in my system, I'm able to exhibit appropriate responses to those emotions. And a lot of times too, It's not even shit that lasts more than a few seconds. For those of you that remember the program episode we did with Wes Rollins, he didn't mention it on this episode, but I think he mentioned it in a conversation we had off the air. But he was talking about when fucked up shit arises out of nowhere, the importance of not immediately reacting to it, because oftentimes your reaction is not going to be appropriate, and a lot of times it's just going to end up fucking you up in some other capacity. But one thing that he says that was helpful for him that I took and started doing myself, which has been really helpful for me, is when fucked up surprising shit happens, the instant that you realize that you're about to fucking spin the fuck out, say either to yourself or out loud, I'll have feelings about this shit later. At that point, you got to turn a switch and just start focusing back on something else that you had going on. And oftentimes you're not even going to have feelings about it later because you're not going to remember what the fuck it was. But other times you will. But because in that moment you decided to delay freaking the fuck out, like somebody said the word of the day on Pee-wee's Playhouse, that you were able to go about your day and just deal with the shit appropriately later and look at it from a more logical perspective as opposed to an emotional perspective. Case in point, there was earlier this year, and I'd spoken about this on the podcast, where I found out the IRS was taking my entire fucking refund, and I was banking on that shit to just really hit the reset button, because 2019, I didn't make a lot of good decisions financially, and I really could have used that fucking refund, man. I got a shit ton of kids, man, so I already had that money spent, man. I was going to fucking ball out and pay off some debt. But I remember being at work in February, and my wife called me freaking the fuck out. And she said that they're taking our refund. And at the time, I work with special needs kids. I was working with kids in the greenhouse that I was working at. And I just could not, I wanted to freak the fuck out, but that was not a setting where it would have helped any of us, me, the fucking kids there, my coworkers. So that was the very first instance where I can remember Wes's words coming directly to mind the second I realized that I was about to spin the fuck out, saying, I will have feelings about this later. And I even, just hearing that in my head, I was able to say that to my wife too. And we did have feelings about it later. We fucking pissed and moaned for a little bit, and then we just had to fucking let it go because there was nothing we could do about it. And I think that just saying those simple words at that time, because that it could have been catastrophic for a lot of different reasons. But just remembering that you don't have to freak the fuck out whenever like bad shit happens can serve you really well in the long run. Another thing that kept popping up was that a lot of the bubs would just talk about how their partners have been with them through all the shit that they've been doing with drugs and alcohol. And if you have somebody that's doing that, just know that you're lucky. And if you're doing shit right now that's fucked up with drugs and alcohol, make an honest effort now. Now's the time to make an honest effort, because if people are putting that kind of time and effort into you to stay with you while you're fucked up, they deserve it to see you at your best. And it might not fix every relationship, but you at least have a chance of repairing your relationships and then going from there and using that as the building blocks to move forward, to build a life that you want and be the partner that the person that stayed with you through the thick and thin deserves. I know in a lot of cases the shit doesn't work out, and people don't stay together because of substance abuse issues, and it's fucked up. It's one of the more unfortunate aspects of this shit, is like there's no magic pill. It's like, see, I did it, everybody. I fucking got sober. You want everybody to fucking high five you and give you congratulations. Like, not everybody's going to be like that. And it's especially tough. It's like if you don't have a spouse that's on board with what you're doing. I got lucky. My wife supported me, and it's tough too, because like there were so many times where, especially like after it would be a fucking coke bender where you're drained, you're at the lowest of low, and that moment sets in where you're just like, all right, I'm gonna fucking change my shit. I'm gonna get my life together. I'm gonna do what it takes to get sober. And your spouse hears this shit a million times, and eventually you get tired of saying the same shit, because deep down you're probably not gonna fucking change shit. But if you're willing to put in an honest effort and just try different things to get yourself on the right track and just leave that shit in the dust, man, you might get lucky and you might be able to salvage a relationship that you're in. and just keep that fucking ball rolling and just really build off of that, because you're going to be surprised. If that's the case, you will probably be really surprised at how well your spouses respond. And it's not even just relegated to spouses. Like you're going to see a lot of people in your life that will tell you how proud of you they are, that you might not have even thought that like you would have affected. Um, I keep a copy of the 12 steps next to my desk here, and like I'm not even on fucking board with all of them. Like there's some that I might as well even fucking cross out, because like it's just like, all right, well, I don't agree with this shit. But there's a couple that really mean a lot, and I think they could serve everybody well who's trying to recover and trying to get past this bullshit. Because recovery and isn't just about just not doing these substances anymore, because your substance abuse and your drinking is probably the byproduct of some shit that some unresolved shit that you didn't work past or couldn't work past at the time, that you tried to cover up and use as a crutch. So when you stop taking those substances, you're ultimately going to be faced with that shit. And sometimes it might pop up just out of nowhere, just because you no longer have the crutch to keep that shit at bay. And then other times, it's going to, once you start getting into some digging and really start working on yourself, where you're going to find out this shit and realize how fucked up it was. And there's the one step that was really beneficial in turning my life around was the fourth step, which is made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. That buckle the fuck up if you're going to do that shit, because you're going to experience some wild shit. Our brains do some fucking wild shit where it's like a lot of times like they're able to compartmentalize really fucked up shit, so that we might not even be conscious of it, that it happened, or we might not even remember it. But as you start to unfuck yourself, these random things are going to come about. When you start to do the work and do that fearless moral inventory, you're going to start to see shit that really exposes a lot of anxiety and a lot of hurt, and it's going to be really difficult to deal with. But this shit is oftentimes going to be the catalyst for a deeper understanding of yourself and a more firm stance in your sobriety. Because as hard as this shit is to deal with, as much as you don't want to, think about, fucked up shit, even though it wasn't your fault, because a lot of times I think substance abuse is a byproduct of just coping with trauma. A lot of times, like as kids, we deal with a lot of fucked up shit that's not our fault. And ultimately, that hurt ends up manifesting later on, oftentimes as alcoholism and substance abuse. So it can be shit that we didn't do on our own, or it can ultimately be, fucked up shit that we did, especially like when we're under the influence. But by going through that step and going through that fearless moral inventory and really digging into this shit, you're going to be faced with some fucked up shit. It's going to be very hard to deal with. But when you start to address it and acknowledge it, it's really going to mark a key turnaround point, and it's going to catapult you into a different phase of sobriety. It's like going through, a fucking haunted house or some shit. It's like you eventually, like, the shit gets more and more fucked up, but all right, I'm getting to a point where I'm not going to have to deal with this fucked up shit anymore. And it does get to that point. One of the things that was helpful for me, and that I think can be helpful for those of you struggling with this shit, is like I found a sponsor when I was in AA. And even if you don't have a sponsor, just having somebody that's willing to listen to you, just willing to listen to you fucking unload all this shit. I know when I at first like started to get sober, I put off finding a sponsor because, for whatever reason, it's just like, dude, it felt like I was trying to fucking find a husband or some shit. It's just like I felt like a fucking chick with fucking fat tits and a fat ass. I was like so selective. It was just like people would offer, I'd be like, nah, dude, I don't think so. No, dude, not having it. But after a while, it's just like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Like, who the fuck are you? And I realized that all these people that were offering to guide me through the shit that they had gone through to get to the point where they were at in their sobriety were just trying to be helpful, because that's all it is. A lot of times, like, the sponsor plays the role of, it's not like, a pontification or a pontificator or nothing like that. If you get a good one, more often they're just going to listen more often than anything else, and just guide you in the right direction and keep you on track and just keep you focused on being honest about what you're doing, what you've done, where you want to go, and and if your actions are congruent with getting to that point. So if you're thinking about getting into a program like AA or NA and you don't have a sponsor, I recommend getting one. It can be helpful, and sometimes I got lucky. Like the one guy that I picked, big tits, fat ass, it worked out for me. He was great. He was awesome. He helped me through everything. He's a great dude, and you're going to realize that all these people that are willing to do this shit are doing it because people did it for them, and it feels like an obligation because when you could make it at the other end to see what's possible, you think about all the times where people met with you, all the times that people listened to you, all the times that people let you cry in front of them, like that shit's a gift. Because most motherfuckers that you encounter, even people that you think are the fucking closest motherfuckers to you, they don't want any of that shit. They won't be, when you start to get your shit together, you really realize who's with you and who's against you. And when you find somebody that's willing to fucking nurture you through this really important fucking, shaky time, you're going to come out the other end with a deeper appreciation for the relationships that you have, and specifically with those people that are willing to provide those for you. Like right now, like I feel compelled to do videos like this because people were so kind and patient with me and promised me that shit would get better, and it would get better in ways that like I could have never imagined. And that's what the fuck's happening. I swear to dude, I can't think of a day in the first fucking 38 years of my life where I just remember thinking how grateful I was for life. Through most of from even maybe even preteen years, like I fucking hated being alive. I did not enjoy being alive. And then, as I got into my teenage years and especially in my 20s and 30s, like I wanted to die. Like there's no easy way around that. Like I just wanted to fucking die because I just didn't know what the fuck was wrong with me. Now, fucking years of wild shit later, and then also years now of just working on myself and being kind and compassionate toward myself, I'm starting to realize what the bigger issues in my life are. And for me, it was, about getting people to like me and just wanting to feel loved. And a lot of times I think that's a common theme in people that exhibit addiction issues. Is you just want to be accepted and you want to be loved, and you don't feel that. And you're just, a big part of it is low self-esteem. I had low self-esteem for almost my entire life. And now I feel like, I don't experience it anymore. And I know that like I feel it deep inside, but also I can see it in the actions that I make. Cause I'm not putting myself in dumb situations where either fucked up shit can happen to me or that I can do fucked up shit to other people or embarrass people closest to me. That all comes from, you know, building self-esteem and value-based living. We talk about it a lot on the podcast, and actually I have the book right here. Matt McCusker from Matt and Shane, one of the fucking smartest people I've ever met. Just got his fucking master's degree in social work, and a genuinely good person who wants to see the best in others. He's discussing this book right now that I'm also reading called "Get Out of Your Mind and Into Your Life" by Stephen C. Hayes. And the basis of this book, one, I recommend getting this book, and two, check out McCusker's the Patreon for Matt and Shane. He's doing a segment called Psych Null, which is breaking down this book. I am a fucking idiot. Like I am average intelligence at best. So it's difficult for me to process a lot of shit that I read, even though this book isn't that bad, but Matt does a really good job of just really fucking breaking this shit down and getting to what's really important. And the basis of this book is totally in line with, for me, maintaining sobriety. And I think it can be helpful for anybody that's entering recovery, or even if you're just trying to unfuck yourself in any kind of capacity, because it's about aligning your actions with values. Because especially when we're active in fucking addiction, man, it's just so much. I personally, I didn't know what I valued. I don't think I fucking valued anything because I didn't give a fuck, man. It was just a Tuesday night at 11 o'clock. My family's fucking sleeping. Like I'm going to a fucking bar and getting fucked till 2 a.m. And if somebody's got fucking Coke there, fucking game on the rest of the night, dude. But when you start to unfuck yourself and fucking peel, it's like fucking peeling an onion, man. You start to reveal more and more, and it gets scary. It gets scarier in a lot of instances. But one thing that you realize the further into this that you get is that you're getting stronger. It's like fucking working out. At first, like, you can't fucking lift shit. But if you continuously go to fucking work out, you're going to get stronger. And that's what this shit is. By confronting all the fucked up shit that you've been avoiding all these years and taking an active role in your recovery, because that's what you are recovering. Like, you are getting better. Like, you're fucked up. People argue over whether or not addiction is a disease. Like, I don't even get caught up in that fucking wording. It doesn't mean anything to me. I know I was fucked up. That's what I know. Like, that's indisputable. And I know for a lot of people listening to this, like, either you're fucked up or you were fucked up. And that's the bottom line. It's like, we don't have to argue about whether it's a disease or not. It's just like, we are fucked up and something has to be done about it. So getting to the basis of that and fucking peeling away those layers, you gradually, and you be honest with yourself, man. Don't fucking bullshit yourself. Don't put the blame on other people and say, well, I do this because this person does this. Like, no, you do this shit because you want to do it. You might not understand the compulsion that makes you want to do it, but ultimately you have the fucking keys to fucking start the car, motherfucker. It's up to you whether or not you want to put this shit into your body. Like, that you do have control over. Shit might get kind of squirrely, like, once you fucking engage in this shit, but just know that, like, and I said it in the last one, you are more fucking powerful than you can ever imagine. And one of the biggest takeaways from that is that, it's just the decision. Like, you decide whether or not you want to, you put, not even want to, but whether or not you put these substances into your body. It's up to you. You have that decision. Nobody can make you do shit. Either you do it or you don't. And when you start to get honest and take ownership that way, you're going to start to build up your level of self-respect. You're going to start to build up your self-esteem, because you realize, like, even though you might have help from a lot of different people and you might be fortunate to have that benefit, a lot of this is you doing all the fucking work to unfuck yourself. And when you start doing that, you got to give yourself a lot of credit for even fucking starting, because most people get fucked and stay fucked for their entire lives. So if you realize something's fucked up and you take any action to change that, give yourself a lot of credit. A lot of times, like, you don't have to fucking walk around like telling everybody, what the fuck's going on in your life, but at least quietly, like, tell you got to coach yourself. Almost times, like, you got to, like, stand outside of yourself and be kind of like a mentor to yourself. Envision like a higher version of yourself doing things to this current lower version, and also building them up, because you really have to be compassionate with yourself to be able to move forward and to recover. There was a couple other things I want to talk about where, one thing that I don't know that I mentioned before, but writing this shit out, it goes with the fourth step with the moral inventory, but also, even if you don't want to go that far, journal. Like, that's one thing that I started recently that has been very helpful, and it has really helped me to realize some shit that's fucked up that I didn't even know is fucked up. Because even though right now I am the best version of myself that I've ever been, and there's times where I'm just like, man, I'm fucking killing it. I'm the man right now. Through journaling, through going through the fucking exercises in this book, I realize I'm bullshitting myself a lot of the time. Because even though, getting sober is one thing, and like living a good life and being a good role model, yeah, that shit's cool. But I don't want it to stop there. And if I'm thinking that, like, right now this is as good as it gets, it's not, because I don't want this to be as good as it gets. There's a lot of shit that I realized in getting deeper and deeper and deeper into what fucking drives me and what holds me back too. I realized that I still have a lot of shit to unfuck. And for me, it's about, building better habits around money, building, having a better idea of how I'm perceived around the people that love me. Because even though I could sit here and say, like, okay, you did a good job today, Mike, and it's like you're doing everything you need to, there's still a part of me that doesn't have great self-esteem in regards to, like, how my family views me or how some friends might view me. So that's one thing that I realized that I'm working on right now. And I realize a lot of that shit is just me caught up in my own head. But that realization would not even have come to me if I had not started to, like, write all this shit out. So just start writing, because a lot of times it's like you don't even know what you're going to fucking write and you look down at your page and you're just like, what the fuck is this? But you realize like, oh shit, this was shit that's been stuck in my head for all this fucking God knows how long. And it's now coming out. So it's like, all right, well, I better fucking figure out some kind of action to take on this shit so that I can unfuck this thing. But to wrap it up, I'm going to keep doing these, and please keep contacting me. Like, I can't hammer it home enough. Like, I was so fortunate, and I'm still fortunate, but especially like when I was first trying to get sober, I had so many people that I felt like I could go to ask questions, to just talk about shit, because all this shit can be, even getting started can be overwhelming, because when you're able to get the ball rolling, you're going to be surprised at how much you realize, like, oh shit, like I can do this. This can work. And it's like, first getting sober, like I would have never imagined that I could enjoy fucking anything without at least crushing beers. Literally everything that I did involved getting fucked up in some capacity. And it's like the thought of, going to a game or just fucking going to a party and just not drinking. It's just like, fuck that. Dude, one of the, I remember going to a fucking AA meeting a couple of days after the Eagles won the Super Bowl. I at that point, like, I wasn't going to AA regularly, but I felt like I should go just because I wanted to say this. But I realized that day, which was probably 2 or 3 days after the Eagles won the Super Bowl, that I made it through not only the game, but the aftermath and the fucking championship fucking parade without drinking or getting fucked up. And it was just like, fuck, man. Like, that was a huge turning point for me. But, sobriety was so ingrained in my fucking, not only mental programming, but also my actions, that while it was happening, while the game was going on and the game was over and I was at the parade, it was just like, I didn't realize that, like, that's something that I would have most certainly been doing. And it was just like, that was just one of those moments where it's just like, fuck, man, I could have never foreseen this coming. And it just went in accordance with all the fucking old heads who were fucking, telling me what shit was going to be like, when I first got started. And, sure as shit, like, that was the truth. So if you feel fucking hopeless or you're fucking teetering on the edge right now, just buckle up, man, because some cool fucking shit is going to happen when you're going to put in the work just to unfuck yourself. I promise you that fucking good wild, not fucking ending up fucking on the Atlantic City Expressway at 3 a.m. going to fucking Harrah's kind of wild, but like good shit kind of wild. Like, one thing that happened to me recently that was it felt like a fucking gift. I talk about gifts all the time, but I went camping with Butterly and Del Calo last month, and I went and took a nap on this beach by a lake. And I was in that like weird sleep state where, like, you're sleeping, but you're also conscious of the shit that's happening around you. And I just remember thinking like how grateful I was for that trip and being away with my friends and just being at such a serene setting. And I opened my eyes because I could feel like a presence. And it wasn't like a dead relative or anything, but like a lady with a fat ass, like, was walking past me, and it was serendipitous. And it's like, whatever way you want to fuck, if people believe in God or whatever, like shit like that, I think like God speaks to me through fat asses. Or if you just want to chalk it up to chance, like, that chance fucking happened because my sober decisions led me to be on that fucking beach in the vicinity of that fat ass at that fucking time. And I don't know that I've ever been more grateful for anything, just to see a random fucking fat ass on a trip where I was sober. But long story short, I'm going to keep doing this shit. And I'm going to do a podcast. I wanted to call it Recovery Tards, but I realized if I put that name up, it's eventually going to be taken down and just have to start from scratch anyway. So I'll figure out a name for it soon. But I think I'll be, I don't know, somehow I might put it on the Dad Me Patreon, or I might just put it on here. I don't know yet. I did one episode with my friend Eric Todd. So if you go to the Dad Meet Kings and Lady Kings Facebook page, you can see that there. Eric's my man. He's one of the funniest fucking people on the planet. And he's somebody who I fucking drank and drugged with a lot. And I can't be more proud of a person than I am of him for getting his life together. And he's an exemplary fucking role model. Just wrote a children's book. He's fucking killing it, man. But that's, another example of the kind of cool shit that could happen if you get your shit together. But yeah, if you go to Dad Meet Kings and Lady Kings Facebook group, you can see that that discussion we had there, but also look for more fucking sobriety tard shit that will not be named sobriety tards for the long term. But I feel compelled to do this kind of shit because people gave me this gift of just telling me to keep going, and keep giving me fucking little bits and pieces that might be helpful. And hopefully some of this shit is helpful for you guys. And because you know we're not meant for shit. We're meant to fucking live lives that are fulfilling, that bring us happiness, that will allow us to be people that are reliable, that allow us to be examples for people that look up to us. And a lot of times it's not just kids, it's other people who just might need somebody to fucking learn a little something from. And it feels good to be able to be that for somebody else, because there's so many times where people were that for me. So if you find value in this, please let me know. I like hearing that shit. If you want to keep it to yourself, that's cool too. But hopefully this shit will help somebody. And if you're struggling, or if you just want to say what's up, hit me up on social media, on our Patreon page, on the Dad Me Patreon, Instagram, fucking Twitter, Facebook, whatever. I'll always get back to you, and I'll always talk to you, especially if you're struggling too. Um, I'll respond to everybody, but especially if you're struggling, I'll give you a more, a very thoughtful response, because I feel compelled to do it because so many people did it for me. All right, Bubs. I love you guys. I look forward to talking with you in the future. All the best to you. And please remember, you are more fucking powerful than you can ever imagine. Love you guys.